First, Governor, thank you and members of the state legislature for your leadership. You made it very clear to us in the Department of Public Safety and to the Adjutant General, the National Guard, that Texas doesn't need anybody's permission to protect Texas. And as a result, you insisted that we be proactive in terms of assisting our Border Patrol agents in terms of securing this area, which is certainly a public safety threat, but also we're mindful as a homeland security threat. In fact, there's nothing more threatening as it relates to public safety in Texas and homeland security than unsecured international border with Mexico, period. And we've experienced influxes before in Texas, certainly in 2014, 2015, but going back to 1986 was the highest number of apprehensions of illegal immigrants back in 1986. And that was at 726,000. Today, we've reached the all-time high in Texas, and that's 1.1 million apprehensions, not including what you see over here. These numbers haven't been counted yet. And certainly that's in federal fiscal year, which we count in terms of the Border Patrol aspect of it. So keep in mind that every time this happens, Border Patrol is overwhelmed. And I'm certainly their union representative can talk about that, and certainly their chief can talk about it. And when that happens, Texas becomes less secure because the cartels exploit those gaps. And that's cocaine, methamphetamine, fentanyl, human trafficking, all the above. And if you've got a drug problem in the United States, you've got a cartel problem, you've got a Mexican-Texas international border problem as well. And as the governor made clear, we'll continue as long as needed, working with all our partners. I've got to thank the sheriff, the county judge, all the elected officials, because they care deeply and are passionate about protecting Texas. So, Governor, thank you.
Thank you very much. Obviously, the men and women charged with the duty in the United States to secure our border are the Border Patrol officers. These Border Patrol officers are overwhelmed with the amount of work they are required to do, and they're suffering the consequences of an administration that is not providing them either the personnel or the resources they need. To speak more about it, we have Brendan Judd, who is the president of the Border Patrol Council. Brandon, come on up.
Thank you, Governor. First and foremost, I would like to thank the men and women in uniform, our military personnel, our DPS officers, our sheriffs. These people put on uniforms because they care. They care about these migrants. They care about the citizens of the United States. They put that uniform on every day to protect life, to protect the way that we have in the United States, to protect our citizens. And they deserve an awful lot of thanks. We have to give gratitude to Governor Abbott for sending DPS here. We saw something yesterday that we knew was going to happen. When those people that were in buses south of Kingsville, Texas, when they found out that they were going to be sent back to Haiti, they took the bus over and they fled. If it wasn't for the men and women in uniform, DPS officers, if it wasn't for that, we do not know what would happen right here under the bridge as word starts to spread that they potentially could be sent back to Haiti. If we don't ask the question, why are we here? What caused this? We won't fix this problem. The simple answer is catch and release. As long as we invite people to violate our laws, as long as we reward them for entering the country illegally and then releasing them into the United States with a de facto immigration status to where they can get work permits, to where they can send their children to school, where they have every right of a United States citizen, they're going to continue to come. We've seen that time and time again. We have to have the proper discussion. If we have that discussion, we can fix this problem. But until we fix this problem, we're going to continue to see scenes like this. We're going to continue to put pressure on Texas resources. We're going to continue to rob Peter to pay Paul. We're going to shift Border Patrol resources from already areas that are troubled like Tucson, and we're going to send them out here. We're going to shift resources from Laredo, shut down checkpoints. We're going to cede law enforcement operations to criminal cartels. The administration knew this was coming. On June 17th, they were warned. On June 17th, they were told to construct a temporary outdoor processing site similar to what we have under the Ansel Lewis Bridge in McAllen, Texas. They ignored it. They ignored the warnings. And then we started to see larger and larger groups coming underneath the bridge and congregating to the point that we're here now. Had we have taken the proper steps, we wouldn't be discussing this right now today. But because we are, Texas has been stressed. The Border Patrol has been stressed. ICE has been stressed. The National Guard has been stressed. There are solutions to this problem. And what you see underneath the bridge, that is not humane. The Biden administration promised that they would have a humane process. That is not humane. It is humane to properly enforce our laws. It is humane to not just give lip service to an issue, but to actually follow it up with actions. That's what we haven't seen. And for that reason, I am grateful to General Norris. I'm grateful to Director McCraw, and I'm especially grateful to Governor Abbott for taking the lead on this issue, an issue that he doesn't have to take the lead on. But he does because he cares about the citizens of the state of Texas and the citizens of the United States. For that, Governor, thank you very much.
Thank you. Brendan Judd made a very important point, and that is failure to enforce laws that exist in the United States leads to chaos, and chaos leads to inhumanity. The Biden administration is a man-made disaster of inhumanity, of epic proportions. It must end immediately, and the way to end it is by the Biden administration stepping up and finally enforcing the immigration laws of the United States of America. I'll take a few questions.
Governor, CNN is reporting that there are at least 30,000 Haitian migrants in Colombia right now that may be seeking up north. Can you address your concerns about that? And also, if you can speak to the conversations that your administration is having with the Mexican government about possibly interdicting migrants from Haiti?
Sure. I've missed the first part of your question. Who is saying that?
CNN.
Got it.
Yeah, the Colombian officials are saying that there are about 30,000 migrants that may be seeking.
Right. So there have been reports for a while now about other groups like this that could be coming from other countries. And that's exactly why we are here, because we want anybody who's thinking about coming to Texas, whether it be from Colombia or any other country, that Texas is going to be responding. We have the law enforcement, we have the funding, we have the strategies, whether it be here in Del Rio or any other location on the Texas border. If you are targeting Texas to come to, we're going to show up in force and shut down the border. We're not going to allow the disaster that we saw here in Del Rio to be replicated by additional caravans coming from wherever they may come from.
Governor, first up, a question. We have heard that some hundreds of miles along this region are being outpatrolled. In fact, the whole thing is not even the police area. Are you concerned about that? And the second, we have heard of another caravan that's similar to this one in Reynosa being attempted to cross the locality.
So both the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Texas National Guard, as well as local law enforcement are very aware of the different locations that migrants may be trying to cross. Some are leaving this region, going to other regions either in Valverde County or in neighboring counties. And as a result, we are also moving resources to interdict those who may be trying to come in. We have heard information about the possibility of something like this happening in Reynosa, and DPS as well as the National Guard, they are working in collaboration with those on the U.S. side to make sure that we are going to be able to put up the resistance that is needed so that those communities don't suffer the same consequences that Del Rio did.
Governor, how many migrants are under that bridge right now, and are there any plans to revisit this border anytime soon?
Sure. I will leave. And that's the county judge. The county judge told me that as of right now, there are about 8,600 migrants who remain under the border. And as far as I and the state resources are concerned, there is no intention to depart this location until this location is fully restored to total control.
In terms of, I know you have flights going out and things like that, any kind of estimate on when that could be?
So the flights going out that you're talking about are flights that are conducted by the Biden administration. And candidly, there's been nothing but confusion and shifting different stories about where they're flying them from, where they're flying them to, how many they are flying out. So that's a constantly changing story that only the Biden administration can venture to tell you.
Two more questions. Governor, on that point about the flights and when these migrants will be away from that bridge, the Biden administration believes that they can process those remaining migrants by the end of the week? Do you believe that?
They have shown no capability of being able to process all of these migrants by the end of this week. The only thing that they've shown is an incapability of dealing with this crisis, candidly, in a way where they pretend it doesn't even exist. And we're here to tell you, it exists, it's total chaos. And the Biden administration, they need to up their game big time.
Last question.
The Secretary of Department of Homeland Security said that their response to the border here was commensurate with the need. However, we know that a lot of folks have been saying that you all need help down here for some time now. What do you suppose took them so long to get here?
So we have been told by the Secretary of Homeland Security, as well as others in the Biden administration, stretching back to last March and February, that they would continue to provide resources that were needed to prevent events like this from happening. And all those promises were never fulfilled. And as a result, it had to be the state of Texas, working in collaboration with our local partners, that steps up and provides the resources that are needed to staunch the flow of illegal immigration on our border, and we will continue that effort. Thank you all very much.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can you tell us what the
Q&A's
status
over.
of the
Thank you.
disaster
Thank you so much for coming.
Are you
Great.
with the Mexican government?
So yes, I obviously made a disaster declaration for a very valid reason, and that is if you look at what the financial strain and the healthcare strain and other strains that Valverde County is dealing with, as well as the additional counties around this area, there is a need for a presidential disaster declaration. I have not yet heard back from the Biden administration, and if you look at history, about every time I've made a request, they've been non-responsive to any requests I've made about needs along the border and helping these counties with the resources that they need because they're completely overrun.
Great. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Just by Valverde County, or is it the entire state?
It encompasses the counties that are affected by the current surge. It is capable of being expanded to make sure that the state and the counties and the cities will receive the resources they need to be able to cope with the disaster caused by the Biden administration.
Great. Thank you guys. That was the last question. Thank you so much.